All right, well, we know Zohran Mamdani's mayoral victory here in New York City, making history on many levels.
Yeah, and our next guest says this is the most energized or hopeful that he's seen from the Democratic base since Barack Obama in 2008. And the president of the National Action Network and civil rights icon, Reverend Al Sharpton, joining us right now with more perspective on these election results. Reverend, welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be with you.
Okay, so this was the biggest turnout for a mayoral election, as we've said, since, I believe, 1969. Does Mamdani's election reflect a seismic shift in the Democratic Party base?
I think it represents a real outrage by many New Yorkers that was also representative around the country of how we're being governed. In the middle of a shutdown, government employees going to food banks, in the middle of SNAP being canceled or run out, in the middle of the Affordable Care Act premiums rising, and you have a president that decides to build a $300 million ballroom and deal with other luxury items like redoing Abe Lincoln's bathroom with gold fillings. I think all of that helped to push an outrage. And I think the Democratic Party was able to benefit from that because they put some policies forward that was antithetical to the kinds of glitzy insensitivity that the president was showing. And I think that certainly Zohran Mamdani here in New York made affordability and those kind of kitchen table issues the core of his campaign that was only helped by the contrast of what Donald Trump was doing nationally.
Well, Reverend, some people saw Mamdani's victory speech as a bit combative and that it didn't reflect someone who would potentially need to be working with people in Washington and Albany. What was your take on his victory speech?
Well, first of all, I think that the people working in Washington went out of their way to endorse the night before his opponent. So it would have looked a little strange for him to say he wants to work with people that just said that he's a communist and they're going to cut off federal funds to New York if he's elected. He would have looked politically masochistic to be saying that. And in terms of Albany, the governor and the majority leader of the New York Senate and the Speaker of the New York Assembly have endorsed him. So I don't know why he would have been perceived to be combative against people that were part of his support base.
You get a sense that he's going to be able to get any of the things that he's promised done? Free buses, free supermarkets?
Well, I mean, we've heard now that there are other cities that have done it. We've heard even that others have projected it. I don't know that he can get everything he's said. I do know that many of us wish that he can get much of what he said. But if you are down 12 inches underground, if somebody pulls you up 6 inches, you're glad you only got 6 inches to go, rather than to have people stomping on your head trying to push you further down. We are acting like we're not in the middle of an administration nationally that is absolutely held the people in contempt. They are shutting down the government. We're in the longest shutdown in American history right now. On top of that, they're dealing with SNAP victims. On top of that, this president is saying that he doesn't care about the Affordable Care Act premiums going up. So for somebody to give me 10 things, and if I believe they can only do 5, when the other guy's trying to bring me minus 10, certainly Mamdani appeals to anybody that's interested in their own self-interest.
Oh, Reverend, do you think that his victory here in New York City would have national implications for the Democratic Party, or is it New York-centric?
I think that the fact that you saw a diversity of political candidates in the Democratic Party win last night. Mamdani is different than Spanberger is in Virginia, and different than Sherrill in New Jersey, and different than what Newsom, who symbolized the Proposition 50 in California. So you can't just say any one of them becomes the new norm. I think that clearly the fact that Democrats won everywhere and they didn't have identical political kind of athletic behavior and political kind of positions, didn't run on the same kind of issues, tell us that a lot of this was a reaction to Donald Trump and the ability to go in the grassroots in their particular areas and talk about what people wanted to hear.
All right, Rev, we got to leave it there. Thank you so much for your time and your analysis and your reaction to that historic election. All right, and we'll be right back.
Baseball.